Welcome Fizz-Trans to project number 2, Toy Cars. This is your introduction to systems and subsystems. Every system starts out with an input. Inputs are basic things. They are things that go into the system, such as tools, machines, peoples, materials, capital, which is another word for money, knowledge, plans. All of those things are input or inputs. From inputs, we process things. In processing, we do things. Something happens to them, we make them, we change them, we cut them, we add to them. Somehow or another, we use all of those things and do something with all of the inputs. The inputs lead to processes, and the processes lead to outputs. Outputs is whatever it is you're making. If you're making a car for Fizz-Trans, or if you are making a boat for Fizz-Trans, or whatever it is that you are making that you have utilized the inputs and done something to it, this is the output. This is the thing that you wanted to have. And completing the system model would be feedback. Feedback answers a bunch of questions. For instance, did it solve the problem? Will I do it again? What else needs to be done? Was it good? Was it bad? What would I do differently? How does everybody like what I've done? Did it get the data for the assignment? That type of thing. And the arrow from feedback leads back into input. What would you put in a different input? Would you use a different material? Would you use a different factory? Would you have it made in the United States instead of China? How would you change the process? Would you use a different bit, a bigger bit, a smaller bit? Would you make sure that you didn't go through the bolt hole when you were hollowing it out? That type of thing. Obviously, then that would change the output, and then hopefully you would get different feedback. After you know the systems, then we have to look at the 6 subsystems. Now, what are important about the 6 subsystems of transportation is that you will have to identify the 6 subsystems for every project herein. You will have to look at how would it be for your specific model and how would it be in real life. Subsystem number 1, structure. It's basically the frame of the vehicle. It's what everything else is added to. You can see up top is the frame of a smaller car. Down below, that's really a play set that's made to look like a plane, but you kind of understand what we're talking about. It would be the framework for a frame. You would put stuff over it in order to make it a plane. Okay? With the upper one, you would add wheels, you would add the engine, you would add a windshield, you would add doors. But it is the structure. It's the thing that keeps the cargo or the people safe. Write that down. It is the thing that keeps the people or the cargo safe. Subsystem number 2, suspension. Suspension is that subsystem that separates the vehicle from the medium. So in your first project, we're going to be talking about cars, or the next project, we're going to be talking about cars. So we're looking at the ground or road. What separates the vehicle from the ground or the road? Then we're looking at tires, shock absorbers, brakes, those types of things. As an example, I threw in the Albatross, which you can see in the bottom picture there. The Albatross is a foot-powered vehicle. In other words, they propel that, or they make that propeller up front go round and round and round, like as if you were riding a reclining bicycle. And the wings would be the suspension. That separates the vehicle from the medium around it, which would be the air in this case. It holds the vehicle in the air. Control. Subsystem number 3, control. Control can mean a lot of different things. The way that you probably have come to know it is control is being able to control the vehicle, using the steering wheel to control the vehicle. That is not what we're using it for. Control is start and stop. That's what we're talking about. Control is how do you make it go faster, how do you make it go slower, or how do you stop it, or how do you make it go. Okay? With a car, you're looking at basically the brake system to make it stop, and you're looking for the accelerator to make it go. That is the control system. The skateboarder down there, his control system is his foot, or falling and hitting the ground really hard, which I like to watch those videos. It makes me giggle. Okay, so in this class, control is only stop and go. It has nothing to do with making the train or the vehicle or the airplane go where you want it to go. It is stop and go. Subsystem number 4, guidance. This is what turns the vehicle. This is what makes the vehicle go where you want it to go. In this case, it would be the steering column for a car. It would be tracks for the train, or in the plane down below, it would be what we call control systems, which is what you will learn about in the very last project of this semester. So this is what we're looking at. Control makes it stop and go. Guidance steers the plane or steers the vehicle wherever you want it to go. Propulsion. How do you get the vehicle to move? There are lots of different types of propulsion that we have. The picture is what we would call a solid rocket booster. It has solid rocket fuel in it, and once you ignite it, it has a controlled burn or a controlled explosion, and the thrust of the explosion or the burn going out the back end of the rocket makes the rocket go up. So in the cars that we're talking about, propulsion could be gravity. Propulsion could be it could be the engine, or it could be an electric motor, that type of thing. Propulsion is whatever makes it go. And last but not least, support. For this project, support are all the items that, well, it's for all projects. Support are all the items that have to do with the vehicle but aren't attached to the vehicle. Some things are attached to the vehicle, like the mirrors. You could say that that's part of guidance and steering. That's fine. You could also call them support. You could, but real support are things like the double yellow lines on the road. That is a social contract that you will not go over those yellow lines into the left lane, into oncoming traffic. That's what those mean. Down below, you see a ship in what's called dry dock. That has nothing to do with the ship itself. That has everything to do with helping it, repair or get painted or clean the barnacles off of it, that type of thing. You see the stop signs. That is all control. All of these things are control. A lot of you may not know what that little the red and the white lights are. That is what a pilot would see to steer him towards what the working runway is. If he's coming the wrong way into a working runway, you would see a giant X there. And then you see the police officer. Now, if you look at one of the bottom pictures, you see a GPS module. For ground transportation, GPS is support only. It has nothing to do with guidance. On a main basis, we still do not have auto-guided vehicles. Now, we have some. There's like, for all of the vehicles that are on the road, we have like 4 auto-guided vehicles per like 5 million cars. Okay, so and really they're just a study. You can't go buy an auto-guided vehicle right now. So GPS, as far as ground transportation, is only for support. Okay, that is majorly important. And with that, the 6 support systems. Be ready for a quiz on it for the next class period.